Hi, my name is Nathan and welcome to the Daily Word. On today's episode of the Daily Word, we'll be in Genesis chapter 12, verse 10. Let's read the scripture together on the count of three. 1, 2, 3.
Now there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down to Egypt to live there for a while, because the famine was severe.
Our daily word for today is the word famine. Let's say this word together. Famine. So what does the word famine mean? Well, basically, a famine is a shortage of food. So again, a famine is a shortage of food. So all the time you can hear in the news of certain areas of the world where there is a famine or there's a fear of famine. That means that there is a shortage of food. So for whatever reason, there's not enough food to feed the people, or people are predicting that because of certain circumstances, there will be a shortage of food in that area. So again, a famine is a shortage of food. So now that we have a basic understanding of the word famine, let's put it back into the scripture. Our topic sentence for today is this: let God provide. Say this with me. Let God provide. So, in this verse that we're looking at with Abraham, or with Abram, we see that there was a famine in the land and that he moved to Egypt. Now, one of the things that's important that you might not recognize when you just read the verse on the surface is that there was no seeking of the Lord in that decision to move to Egypt. There was a famine, so there's a shortage of food, and how we can understand that is maybe not necessarily a famine in your life, but a shortage maybe of finances, or where you're in a situation where you're desperate, where you're seeing the things around you decrease. Maybe that's your social life and people suddenly leaving and moving out of the area. Maybe you can't find a job. There are different ways that we can translate a famine, how we're experiencing that in our life, where we feel like we don't have enough, or there's a fear that in the near future we won't have enough. And it's very tempting, very easy to just leave and just to run away from that moment and that place to find an area or a place where you have abundance. We don't like to be in a famine scenario. We don't like to be in a situation where we don't have enough. We like to feel secure. We like to feel well provided for. We like to feel like there's nothing to worry about, we have enough. But oftentimes you'll find in this life, you will have a famine situation where you don't have enough. And the temptation will be to flee to your Egypt, to leave, and to not seek the Lord first. But one thing that we know from Jesus, as he communicates to us through the gospel and through the disciples, is that he wants to provide. He might provide in ways that you're not expecting. We have to be ready for that. He might provide in a way that you don't want, but he will provide. And he won't always give you what you want, but he will always give you what you need. So when we're in that situation where we don't seem to have enough, fight that temptation to just run away to a place where there's plenty, to run away to a place where there's security. Fight that temptation and first take the unnatural step to say, Lord, should I stay or should I go? And maybe he'll say go, and that's fine. Oftentimes he will. But he might say stay. And that's going to be scary, and that's going to be uncomfortable, and that's going to be the unnatural thing to do. But I guarantee you, when you let the Lord provide, when you let God provide, he will supply everything you need. He will provide everything you need in those situations. And you will see provision in a place where there's famine. Oftentimes when we're in a place of famine, that's when we can see a miracle, because we know that there was nothing. But when he came in, when God's will was done, there was a surprising and miraculous abundance. When we're always secure, when we're surrounded by plenty, it's hard to see him provide. But when you're in a state of famine, you know that there's nothing. But when God provides, you can't help but recognize that God has done something amazing and miraculous in your life. So before you leave, before you run and there's a famine in your life, ask the Lord, should I stay or should I go? And if he says stay, hold on to him and wait for a miracle because it's coming. He will provide. Just let God provide. Well, that does it for today's episode of the Daily Word. If you liked this video or you found it helpful, go ahead and click the subscribe button down below or leave a comment. Or maybe go and try to use this word in your daily life. What are some examples that you can use the word famine? But in the context of the scripture, don't be afraid of famine. Don't run from famine. And in the famine, seek the miraculous provision of God in that moment of our weakness and being without. Let Him provide abundantly because He wants to and He will. Well, my name is Nathan, and this was your Daily Word. See you next time.